Kia ora, my name's Emma and today we're going to be talking about ecology. More in specific, we're going to talk about how the isolation of New Zealand has effect on the flora and fauna in New Zealand. It all started a long time ago, when all the land masses were all joined together in the supercontinent called Pangaea, which was formed around 300 million years ago and consisted of all the continents that we know today. However, around 250 million years ago, the supercontinent began to break away, splitting into northern supercontinent called Laurasia, splitting into what we know as today Europe, Asia and North America. The supercontinent, known as Gondwana, is where New Zealand comes into play, as well as Africa, India and Australia. As the supercontinent began to break apart, New Zealand remained isolated and developed a unique flora and fauna. Today, New Zealand is home to many endemic species, including the kiwi, and is known for its stunning natural beauty and diverse landscapes. Let's dive a little bit deeper into how this occurred. The isolation of New Zealand has greatly influenced the country's unique array of species. Due to the geographic isolation, many species have evolved in ways that are distinct from those that are found in other continents. Let's dive deeper into the processes that occurred to form New Zealand's landscape. The movement of New Zealand occurred from tectonic plates that are under the surface, moving apart from one another and causing rifting. Rifting is a geological process in which the Earth's crust and lithosphere are pulled apart, resulting in a formation of a rift valley. This process led to the breakup of all the continents I listed before. In New Zealand, the rifting process led to the formation of unique flora and fauna due to the isolation of landmass from other continents. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about how New Zealand was formed. Now let's move on to the flora and fauna. New Zealand has had one of the highest numbers of endemic species in the world. This is due to the 85 million years of geological isolation. New Zealand species have become adaptive to the unique environment, only found in their particular ecological niche, meaning they are only found in one certain area. Did you know there is only one native mammal in New Zealand, the only one being a bat? The bat is not a natural predator to birds. This means in New Zealand, native birds are able to make adaptations you don't see anywhere else. There are 3 different types of adaptations that occur in animals: behavioral adaptation, structural adaptation, and physiological adaptation. A behavioral adaptation is when they change in a way they act to survive. A physiological adaptation is when the internal organs, tissues and cell change over time to help them survive in their environment. An example of this is the tuatara's ability to change their temperature to the environment that they're in. Structural adaptations are things that you can see on the physical body. One example is the kiriru. It has the widest gape out of all the New Zealand native birds and it enables them to eat the largest berries out of the forest. For a long time, the flora and fauna in New Zealand and Australia were very similar after the split of Gondwana due to the similar soil and climate. Gum trees, bottle brushes are both prime examples of which flourish in both lands. After some time, Australia began to drift more north, meaning it became more dry and in the subtropical zone. New Zealand stayed further south, which the environment became a lot more harsh and moist, created by the westerly winds. The climate went from one extreme to another, experiencing glaciers retreating and advancing as the temperatures cooled and warmed over the years. In New Zealand, life forms which adapted to warm temperatures and subtropical conditions rapidly became extinct, and some distinctive groups evolved. Due to the isolation and the lack of ground-dwelling predators, our birds evolved unique characteristics. Since flight was not required to escape predators, birds such as kiwi, takahe, and moa adapted to these conditions by developing a large body size and loss of flight.
There are around 40 species of flightless birds in the world today, with New Zealand being the home of the greatest number of these species. There are currently only 16 species that are flightless in New Zealand. Majority of more than 170 bird species will not fly unless their lives are threatened. This is surprising since birds are usually known for flying. Let's have a closer look at the kiwi adaptation, shall we? The kiwi is New Zealand's classic icon. They became bigger and bigger in size, as they did not need to be light to fly. They adapted their self-defense strategies, which include camouflage, ground nesting, and freezing when spotted, as their main predators were from the air. Let's have a look at the flora in New Zealand and how it was affected by the isolation. Did you know that 82% of the flora in New Zealand is unique to the country? This is because for 55 million years, New Zealand's landmass was isolated around 2,000 kilometres away from any other landmass. As a result, the only way for plant species to spread between countries was through wind or birds, which was believed to be impossible at this time. This means that New Zealand plant life has had no external impact until humans arrived. It's pretty fascinating to think about. Let's talk about flowers. In New Zealand, our flowers are quite small and are usually white or have very little colour. This is because the flowers are more suited to our pollinators, which are short-tongued bees, night moths, flies, and beetles. In contrast, flowers overseas vary in different shapes, sizes, colour, and have variety as they are more suited to their pollinators, which include long-tongued bees, hawk moths, hummingbirds, and butterflies. Did you know that in New Zealand we lack a variety of butterflies? Therefore, complex flowers that need these pollinators could no longer survive in New Zealand.
The isolation of New Zealand has played a crucial role in the biodiversity, and it will continue to do so in the future. I hope you learnt something new and enjoyed watching. Bye!